Right, so I just want to talk very briefly, because there's not a lot to say really, about Celeste Rivas. Now, Rivas, so this is a very strange case. They're all strange cases, that's, I suppose, why we talk about it. So this is Celeste, 15 years old, and she was going out with this idiot singer, David, who spells his name in a weird way, just to try and look cool. And it's very strange, this, because she's supposed to have been having a relationship with him. But again, she's 15. You can't call it a relationship. It's abuse. When you've got an adult man having calling someone like this his girlfriend, or she's calling him her boyfriend, she's 15. That is abuse. It's not a relationship, is it? So she was found in the back of his car, in the boot of his car. Some people say she was dismembered. Other people say no, she wasn't dismembered. It's just that she'd been there so long, her body had started to come apart, which is a horrible, horrible thought. This poor girl. Anyway, the thing is, she was in the boot of the car. She was deceased. Again, there's a total vacuum in what the official people are saying. How long had she been there? Was her whole body in there? Because some people are saying there was only parts of her in there. Then they were saying that David was not a suspect, and his entourage, they were suspects. And so that's why I've left this case alone from the first, if I can't remember, it's probably been a couple of months since I've spoken about this case, because there's been so much conjecture in between. Anyway, finally, he has been identified as a suspect. So it's took all this time, because she was found on the 8th of September. So it's 2 months ago. In the front trunk of a black Tesla registered to David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. And the car had been ticketed in a Hollywood Hills neighborhood and then impounded in a tow yard in Los Angeles. And the police have said apparently she probably died in the spring, and that David had probably helped in dismembering and disposing of the body, but he has not been cooperative in the investigation. So literally, that's more or less it, that we do know finally now that he has been identified as a suspect. Now, there's something else that's come out, which is that he did some mystery trip, which seems to be acknowledged as being relevant to the case. So let's have a look at that. What they've got to say. But there's been so much conflicting evidence. I need to just say, whatever I show on here, especially from TMZ, it's like there's so much conflicting evidence. It seems like every day they're saying something different. So you let me know what you think, but take everything with a pinch of salt until official information comes out.
Now, I'm also told that logic is not a big part of this case, because a lot of it doesn't make sense just in terms of everything that happened. I want to talk about the mystery still in this David investigation. We broke the story yesterday that David is viewed as a suspect in the death of Celeste Rivas. The big mystery centers around something that we have now confirmed absolutely as true, that the LAPD has some tracking information where they claim that David took this mysterious trip to a very remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night in the spring of 2025.
Yeah, so they seem to be making a big deal about this trip to Santa Barbara County, that he went off there, was there for a certain length of time, and this seems to be a big deal. So did he go there, take the body there, bring it back? Did he bury some of the body there? Did he bury the murder weapon there? So it's created all this speculation.
Now, that is months before the body was discovered in Los Angeles in a trunk. Um, I don't think it's hard to connect the dots. And he stayed there, by the way, for several hours. So I don't think it's hard to connect the dots that one of the things they seem to be looking at is whether Celeste was killed then and he buried the body there or left the body there in some way. If he did that, then the question would be, why would somebody, whether it would be him or somebody else, remove the body from Santa Barbara County, which is 100 miles away from LA, and bring it to Los Angeles, and then put it and leave it in a trunk on a well-traveled street, only to be found after the car was abandoned? That's the part that doesn't make sense. And I think that's at least.
Yeah, nothing makes sense much in this case, does it? But I mean, I was sort of thinking, was he hoping that the car would be towed and crushed? But fancy leaving a body in a car and hoping that nobody would find it. It's weird, isn't it? But, you know, this is another one. Mysterious. Lot to come out yet.
At least what I'm hearing, that's something the LAPD is really looking at. But I believe they have a theory. I don't know what it is, but based on our information, they have some theory about if the body was buried in Santa Barbara County or left in Santa Barbara County in some remote area, how it came back to Los Angeles. And that may also explain why we are told the LAPD believes that David would have had help. And now I don't know whether that help would be taking the body from Santa Barbara back to LA. I don't know. But that to me.
Well, I mean, it's been backwards and forwards. They were saying it was nothing to do with David, but it was one of his entourage. And now they're saying, yeah, David's a suspect, but somebody else was probably involved. I mean, that's why I've sort of stayed away from this case, really, and I probably won't be looking at it again until something clear comes out. But I do think once they actually was named as a suspect, that is official information that we can sort of comment on.
Is the logical way of connecting the dots. Now, I'm also told that logic is not a big part of this case because a lot of it doesn't make sense just in terms of everything that happened. But based on this Santa Barbara trip, you know, it seems that the LAPD's operative theory is that Celeste was killed in the spring of 2025. The body not discovered until around September of that year, of this year. Now, the other thing that's interesting is there has not been a formal cause of death determined by the medical examiner.
So that's the other thing. So they still have not announced what Celeste's cause of death was, and that could be because they don't know, or they're waiting for toxicology reports. Nobody's been charged. David hasn't. He might have been announced as a suspect, but he's not been charged. He's not been arrested. Don't even know where the hell he is, to be honest. You know, it's like it's odd how slowly this case is moving. You know, these are cases that are not straightforward.
Nor has the LAPD received the toxicology report. So they can't say that this is a homicide and David is a suspect because they can't definitively say now that it's a homicide. Their operating theory, we know, is that it is a homicide, but the coroner, the medical examiner, has not said that yet, nor has the medical examiner delivered toxicology to LAPD. What I'm told is the relationship between the medical examiner's office and the LAPD is not the greatest, because now we're 2.5 months in since the body was discovered, and still the LAPD doesn't know A, cause of death, B, what the toxicology shows. And what I'm told is this kind of underscores not a great relationship where the medical examiner is particularly cooperative with the LAPD.
What the fuck? Sorry, excuse my French, but you know what? These are professional people. Surely they're not going. It's not about a personal relationship between the LAPD and the medical examiner. You know, for fuck's sake, it's not about, oh no, I'm not giving you the cause of death because you pissed me off the other day. For God's sake, this is making me really annoyed. So it's been like 2 months, over 2 months, and this poor girl, they don't even know her cause of death, and he's trying to say, oh, it's because there might be a bad relationship. It's like, oh, well, I'm not telling you what the cause of death is unless you do this, or, you know, because you were nasty to me the other day. These are professional people. Oh God, this is why I've not been commenting on this case, because it's a lot of it comes out this TMZ, and they're full of shit a lot of the time. You know, but so I'm not having that. I don't believe that the reason that they've not released the cause of death is because they don't get on, because they're having a hissy fit at each other. Don't believe that at all. So there'll be a proper reason. Now, God knows what it is. I have no idea. But I'm sure there's a proper reason, not just the reason that they don't like each other.
2.5 months isn't unusual for and I hate to use the term, run-of-the-mill homicide case, but this is a very high-profile homicide case, and a lot of times that can be accelerated. It doesn't seem to be accelerated here. So there is no formal determination of cause of death. There is no toxicology report. There is no formal label of suspect, because you can't call somebody a suspect until you know that it's a homicide. But again, we can tell you.
No, they are saying that now. So maybe, no, they are saying he is a suspect and there is a homicide. They are saying that.
That investigators in robbery homicide are viewing this as a
As
homicide,
a
and they
homicide.
are viewing David as the suspect. But
There you go. That's where we are. But you know, you can say but or whatever. That's where we are. That's the official information that came out. It's a homicide. David's a suspect. That's all we know, really. And this mysterious trip, that's true as well that he did. But that supposedly is a real big thing in the case, but we won't get to know until it all comes out.